Hi, my name is Erica Volpe. I'm a nutrition student at Immaculata University. I'm here with Michelle Leininger to talk about dancers and nutrition. So she's the director and owner of the Balance Dance Center, and I'm going to ask her a few questions about nutrition and dancers. So overall, how important do you think nutrition is with dancers?
Erica, nutrition is really important with dancers, and I think it's an area that dancers tend to neglect. They think that they can perform amazing feats of human stamina and strength without the proper fuel.
For sure. So do you believe there's any misconceptions from the general public that they think about dancers physically?
I think I think the biggest misconception that the public has about dancers is that dancers must be emaciated to be able to be considered a dancer. And I think George Balanchine had a lot to do with that. I mean, he developed or had a preference for this specific body type of a very short torso, very long legs, very thin. And that sort of became the prototype for all dancers. And that is just not what all dancers look like. And it's not necessarily the healthiest look for most people. So a healthy weight and actually being healthy is much more important than being emaciated. And I think the public still adheres to that belief that dancers need to be skeletal to be a dancer.
Sure. So what is your thoughts on the topic of dancers and eating disorders?
Well, I think that certainly is prevalent in the dance world. I think there's so much pressure to attain a level of perfection that's not realistic for most people, that girls and boys will go to great lengths to reach that level of perfection, and they will do it in artificial ways, and eating disorders are prevalent among dancers. And I know, even in my own case as a professional dancer, a young dancer, I also struggled with eating disorders. And all the dancers around me were managing their weight in all kinds of unhealthy ways.
Great. Do you know anything about the requirements of certain food groups that you're supposed to get before, after, and during performances?
I do know, I think, a little something about what dancers should be eating before, during, and even after performances. I think the perception is that we shouldn't eat anything because we want to be as thin as possible, but then you can't perform as well, because the proper nutrition not only affects your physical performance, but it makes your mind foggy if you're not eating the right foods. You won't be able to retain complicated choreography or pick up combinations quickly, and so it affects everything, your thinking as well as your physical performance. And so I do have an idea of how dancers should be eating. Yeah.
If you had the opportunity, would you go to a dietitian to talk about proper nutrition for your dancers?
If I had the opportunity, I would have a dietitian on staff for my dancers, because even with the Balance Dance Company, I'm always concerned about you, because you're a member of the company.
Yeah.
I'm always concerned about whether or not my dancers have eaten before they come to rehearsal, and if they've eaten adequately before rehearsal. And if they haven't, I can tell. I usually can tell, because they'll be tired, or they'll not have enough energy to run something 100% through, full out, or they forget things. Their memory gets foggy. So the nutrition really affects their performance. And so if I could, I would have a nutritionist on staff for the company. Yeah.
So what do you think is the biggest complication or problem that dancers have with eating properly?
I think the biggest complication or problem they have with eating properly is I think they eat too little. If a dancer is rehearsing all day or for several hours and taking class, I mean, a typical day for a professional dancer will be 8 to 10 hours. If you are going to be taking class, going to rehearsal, and performing later, that's a long day, and it's a very demanding day physically. And I think dancers are more often than not more concerned with being thin than being fueled. So they think of food more as an enemy than something that they need to sustain, not not only their physical well-being, but just even their ability to perform to their best. So that's the biggest problem is eating enough, I think, and eating enough of the right foods. Because I think carbohydrates are a big deal for dancers. They think, oh, I shouldn't eat carbohydrates. That's going to make me fat. And carbohydrates are the very thing that they should be eating. Yeah. Complex carbs are exactly what they should be fueling and using to fuel. That's that energy that's easily accessible for the kind of things that they do.
All right, well, that was it. Thank you so much for talking to me, Michelle.
You're welcome.
Oh.